That means that even if Notre Dame, check this out, is the #1 ranked team in the country, they would get the number 5 seed, requiring them to win 4 straight games to win a title. That's brutal. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't know that, and that's just straight up craziness. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what do we have going on here? We got some college football news in the offseason? Hey, I'll take it. Now, as we all know, we're about roughly, like 180-something days away into the college football season. In other terms here, we're about 6-7 months away. And I say that to say this. We're not going to have too many days on this channel where we have college football news to talk about. So when we do have the opportunity, we got to jump all over it. And that is exactly what we're going to do, because the breaking news just came out that the college football playoff, the format of it, is changing. It's official. This isn't a rumor, speculation, or even a developing story. It happened. It's just been recently announced. We're going to talk all about that, but also we got something to talk about involving Nick Saban and ESPN. And oh yeah, I kind of forgot to throw this in here. I should have said this at the very beginning of this video, but this is also apparently some really bad news for Notre Dame, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. Grab your popcorn, grab your snack, get your fair meal like to eat when you watch a video, because trust me, I do the same thing, but alright, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up, that's what I do. Man, oh man, I miss college football, but I tell you what, I've been really enjoying this college basketball season. And maybe I've just been enjoying it so much due to my Alabama Crimson Tide being one of the top teams in the nation. As where it stands right now for the March Madness tournament, they're saying we're going to get a 3 seed, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I tell you what, in the SEC, I think the best overall team in the conference is Kentucky. The only problem with Kentucky is they have an absolute fraud of a head coach, and that's John Calipari. And the reason I say that is because, and I know we're talking about basketball here, we're about to get a move on, they got so much talent, it's not even funny. I think they're going to make some noise, so just keep your eyes on the Wildcats if you do keep up with college basketball like myself. Getting it out the way though, check out what Nick Saban had to say about him picking teams on College Game Day. Quote unquote, "I've tried to steer away from picking people. I think I'm going to have to do that now. But I don't know that you always have to pick the team that you think is going to win. You're allowed to have a spiritual feeling about who you like and who you want to win, so I think it'll be a lot of fun though." Now maybe I'm just misinterpreting this quote here, but I don't understand how this is Nick Saban insinuating that he's always going to pick Alabama to win like this tweet says right here. The tweet states that Nick Saban admitted he won't pick against Alabama, but in his quote, Nick Saban never said that. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. I did want to share it because I think people, they're overhyping all this. Because think about it, for the past 15 years, every single one of you watching this video, if you have more than 4 brain cells, every single week you have picked Alabama to win. Why? Because in every single game, they're the better team for 99% of the games. And moving forward, yes, Nick Saban's gone, Kalen DeBoer's in. It's a new Alabama team and a new Alabama program. But it doesn't take away from the fact that in this up-and-coming season, Alabama is going to be favored in bare minimum 10 of their ball games. And to pick up where Saban left off, yes, of course, every single one of you, if you're a fan of a certain team, you do have that, what he stated, quote-unquote, spiritual feeling about your certain team. But even with that being said, I live in reality, and I've always tried to be as unbiased as I can be. I've picked against Alabama twice in my entire lifetime. One of those being against Georgia in the national championship, in which I was right, Georgia beat Bama. And then most recently, this last season, I picked Texas A&M to beat Alabama, in which Alabama won. Those are the only 2 times I've ever picked against Nick Saban in Alabama. And my point of bringing that up is, I think Nick Saban, more than likely, he's going to be the same way. He's going to pick Alabama more times than not, the same reason everybody else is, because Alabama is one of the best teams in the country, whether you like it or not. I get it, you got Bama fatigue, but y'all are going to have to face reality, man. Alabama isn't going anywhere. I would love to talk about that some more, but we're going to move on to the main topic, the main encore, main reason you clicked onto this video. What in the world is going on with the CFP, aka the College Football Playoff? I got to give you some context before we get into things here. Heading into today, currently, the 12-team playoff had a format of 6 plus 6. If you don't know what that means, I'll dumb it down even more. You had 6 automatic bids and 6 at-large spots. I'm sure many of you are familiar with auto bids. You've seen it before in March Madness. And the reason we was going to go with the 6 and 6 format is because we had 5 Power 5 conferences, so there's going to be 5 there, and the other automatic bid was going to go to the highest non-Power 5 conference. And when I say highest, I should have clarified. I'm talking about the highest ranked conference champion from the non-Power 5. However, as we all know, the Pac-12 has recently disintegrated. So it no longer makes sense to have a 6+6 format because we don't have the Power 5 anymore. We got the, I guess, are we calling it the Power 4 now? I have no idea. And realistically speaking, it's not even the Power 4 because the ACC is trash. They're straight up garbage. And the Big 12 isn't on the SEC and Big 10's level, but I'm not going to call them trash. I think they're okay. We all know where this is heading eventually. I don't know how long, but in 10, 15, 20 years, we're just going to have two mega conferences, the Big 10 and the SEC. But that's a different conversation for a different day. You get the point. We no longer have the Power 5. So that then raised a new problem for the committee because it just made zero sense whatsoever to retain the 6+6 format. So over the past couple of months, they've had a lot of meetings, and we've talked about this. We thought they were going to do this, and they made it official. They're switching from a 6 auto bid and 6 at-large spot format to 5+7 format. You are going to have only 5 automatic bids, which we'll get to in just a second, and 7 at-large bids, and I like it. There really shouldn't be too much confusion or debate about this whatsoever. Your 5 highest ranked conference champions, they are going to get an automatic bid. In other terms, the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC, and ACC, they are getting an automatic bid, that champion. And then you're going to have the one team from the non-Power 5, which is what I'm going to label as the Cinderella team, they're going to get in. Here's what they stated, quote unquote. Under the 12-team playoff format that begins this fall, the 4 highest ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4 and each will receive a first round bye, while teams seeded 5 through 12 will play each other in the first round on the home field of the higher ranked team. And there's a bunch of more quotes and stuff I could show you, but we're just touching on all the high points here. You don't care about all the nerdy stuff. You just care about the format, and I'm with you. But take a look at this. This tweet has been going viral all over Twitter. It's got currently over 2 million views. The new college football playoff will put the 4 highest ranked conference champions as seeds 1 through 4, which we just talked about. That means that even if Notre Dame, check this out, is the number 1 ranked team in the country, they would get the number 5 seed, requiring them to win 4 straight games to win a title. That's brutal. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't know that, and that's just straight up craziness. Imagine Notre Dame next year just goes out there and curb stomps everybody. They finish the regular season 12-0. They're easily, on paper, they pass the eye test, number 1 team in the country. We all agree, but in the playoff, they get selected as the number 5 seed. It'd be weird. Oh, I just saw this. Brett McMurphy replied to it. Brutal, laughy face emoji. Notre Dame has easier path than the conference champs who would have beaten most likely a higher ranked team at neutral site to win conference title and then have to win 3 straight, and which I agree with. And let me clarify, I didn't even tell you my thoughts on this. No, I don't feel bad for Notre Dame whatsoever. Not even to the slightest of bits because, yeah, they do have an easier path. They have, as a matter of fact, the easiest path to the playoff, and it's always been that way. Notre Dame doesn't even have to play a conference championship. Think about that. If you lose, look, hold on. Let me just bring this up. Georgia last year. If Georgia didn't play a conference championship, they would have made the playoff. What I'm saying is, and what shocks me about all of this is a fun fact that I didn't know. I didn't know this was in the realm of possibilities. But come to find out, I guess I should have known it. It should have been common sense because Notre Dame, yeah, they're not in a conference, so they can't get one of those top 4 spots. And honestly, this really doesn't matter. It's just hypothetically speaking here, and I'll explain why it doesn't matter. Notre Dame will never be the number 1 team in the country heading into the playoff. It just can't happen. It won't happen. Notre Dame is no longer a great football program. They're good. They're really good. They're on the fringe of great, but they're not. Notre Dame has accomplished nothing in so long. The only reason they're relevant is because of what they did 50-something years ago. And if you don't want to take my word for it, that's cool. And most of y'all know how I feel about Notre Dame. They should be banned from being ranked inside the top 10. But I digress. I'll just give you some cold hard facts and evidence here. Brian Kelly straight up told everybody the reason he left Notre Dame is because he knew he couldn't win a championship there. And I know some people are going to bring up, well, Matt, they made a championship game against Alabama. Well, yeah, they made it, but they didn't even show up to the game. I don't know why the media hypes Notre Dame up still and they put them on this pedestal. Maybe it's just due to the history, but if you keep up with college football, you know they're not on the level of a Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and so on, all the top dogs. Notre Dame has done nothing. Their best achievement in the past 15 years was making it to a championship game in which they got blown out in. I don't want to turn this into a Notre Dame rant video. Y'all know how I feel about them. Hands down, the most overrated college football program of all time, and it's not even close. I'm curious, though. Let me know your thoughts on everything down below, but Roman.